Boy oh boy, man oh man, this week on Wookie Drives I get to talk about the forgotten Eagle brand. A brand that was created so Chrysler could fulfill a contract with Renault when it purchased AMC and Jeep. And a brand they never really entered the 90s with any sort of vision for, other than the car they sold as the Eagle Vision. This week I drive the 1994 Eagle Summit Wagon all-wheel drive. Let it be known right off the bat that I fell in absolute love with this frumpy little car. This little piece of captive importing has no business driving as well as it does, and it hits all the weird car checkboxes for an automotive nerd like me. The 2.4-liter 4G64 under the hood is a revvy little engine that makes this car a blast on country roads and merging on the highways. The suspension, while a little top-heavy, carves up said country roads with ease. And the hydraulic clutch and shifter is some of the butteriest smooth shifting I've experienced this side of Honda. It's from a time where Mitsubishi was really one of the big dogs from Japan, and you could expect the best from. But that alone is worth a video in itself. Because this car is a captive import, and even though it was built by Mitsubishi, it was sold in America under a Chrysler brand, like many Mitsubishi models at the time. And that brand was Eagle. The weird dumping ground of lame duck Renault models that were supposed to be the next phase of AMC, the third LH car you probably forgot about, and more opportunities for Chrysler to sell rebadged Mitsubishis at their new dealerships. Unlike the vision it sold, Eagle itself never really had a vision for itself outside of selling AMC's last hurrah, the premiere for 5 years and hitting a seemingly impossible sales target of 300,000 cars in that time period. Which they didn't. But for some reason, Chrysler stuck to Eagle for a few more years, switching away from those Renault-based models when those contracts were up and switching to Mitsubishi-based ones. And the Vision. And despite having a seemingly much more interesting lineup than Plymouth did at the time, it still died before Plymouth finally burned to a crisp in 2001. Eagle had a good name, it had a good logo, and it had a prime opportunity to sell as Jeep's partner in their dealerships since Chrysler had to wait a while before they incorporated those dealers into its full network. But Chrysler never really gave a damn. They never really marketed Eagle as they should have. They had Jeep after all, and that's all they were really after when they purchased AMC in 1987. The Eagle Summit Wagon was the third iteration of the four-wheel drive people mover from Eagle. The first being the OG, the original AMC Eagle that was sold for 1 year as the Eagle Wagon as Chrysler began the AMC transition and shifting the Brampton plant for additional Jeep production. The original Eagle was replaced with the Vista Wagon, which shared a similar correlation to its non-original Eagle sibling as the Summit did with the wagon. The Vista Wagon was the captive import Mitsubishi Jarrett, while non-wagon Vistas were rebadged second-generation Mitsubishi Mirages. For the follow-up, the Vista would be renamed the Summit, having it share its name with the actual Eagle Summit mountain pass in Alaska, but I don't know if this was actually intentional or not. It was Chrysler marketing an AMC car, so I don't think it was. While the sedan and hatch would be based on the third and fourth generation Mirage, the wagon variant would now be based on the then-new Mitsubishi RVR. While the Vista Wagon would be a 3-row cross between a mini minivan and a traditional wagon, the Summit Wagon would be a 2-row proto crossover with a sliding rear door. And if the Mitsubishi RVR sounds familiar, because that's what the Outlander Sport is known as in Japan. So it actually is kind of neat that that model originates all the way back to this lovely thing. Like the Vista Wagon before, and for extra confusion, this generation of RVR was also sold in America as either the Dodge or Plymouth Vista Wagon, and itself as the Mitsubishi Expo. It was available in all-wheel drive, which was a huge sell for people in colder climates with harsh winters. Which is a reason why you don't see much of any of these poorly sold wagons anymore, as most of what had sold have long succumbed to the horrors of road salt. Like the larger Caravan and the long-dead Nissan Stanza wagon that the Vista Wagon competed against, it has a sliding rear door to access the rear. But unlike the Stanza, it actually does have a B-pillar, so you won't be immediately turned into chunky marinara in an accident. Like period caravans, there's only a sliding rear door to the passenger side, so your kid wouldn't automatically yeet themselves into traffic getting dropped off at school. Can I talk about these rear seats for a bit? Okay, they're kind of meh for modern standards, but for 1994, the fact that they not only fold nearly flat, but they also recline into multiple positions, and that's massive! This is something we take for granted in modern SUVs and vans, but not in little econoboxes like this from 30 years ago. And sitting back here isn't a complete punishment for a tall American like me. Thanks to a high roofline, I actually have decent amount of headroom back here. Egress in and out is a tad tight, as the rear door opening isn't as large as I would hope to thanks to the Summit Wagon's short base, but still, this is way over-engineered for the time. Under the hood is the only available engine in North America, the trusty 2.4-liter 4G64 4-cylinder that was in almost every Mitsubishi product, and even some Kia Hyundai ones at some point. And is still even in production today as the Chinese spec engine for the Ford Transit. You had 2 transmissions available, either a 4-speed automatic or a 5-speed manual. Power is then either sent to the front wheels or to all 4 via a viscous coupler. This is what makes the Summit Wagon and all its Expo cousins so fun, because this becomes a capable little runabout on back roads in northern climates. It's easy to forget that Mitsubishi was right there with Subaru with making things available in all-wheel drive, but due to their focus being elsewhere thanks to their partnership with Chrysler and helping supplement Chrysler's lineups, Subaru had the benefit of just focusing all their marketing and effort into, hey, we have all-wheel drive, and this helped them grow at a grassroots level in northern climates into the powerhouse that they are today. Instead, Mitsubishi was more focused on developing products, powertrains, and platforms for Chrysler, right up until the rug was pulled out from under them when Chrysler declared bankruptcy and had to sell. Now, circling back to the Summit Wagon, the all-wheel drive was reserved as its own complete trim package at the top of the lineup, with the lowly front-wheel drive models being either the base DL or the luxury LX. Now look at this frumpy little wagon, or mini minivan, or mini MPV, or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's one of the most unassuming cars that you'll ever see on the road. Most would ignore it or call it ugly, but behind the wheel, this turned into one of the most surprising drives I've had all year. This little hump of American-branded Japanese steel has no business driving this well. The 4G64, while not torquey, is a lovely revvy engine that propels the 3,400-pound wagon forward with ease. The engine is beyond happy at mid and high range of the revs, and was at its absolute happiest merging onto highways and yields. Oh, and this clutch and shifter, holy crap, it's probably some of the best I've ever experienced. It's just so buttery smooth. Oh, what a drive. This thing was an absolute blast on both country roads and in the city. I couldn't believe it, like I legit wanted to buy this car at the end of the drive. Oh, and there's probably not another Summit Wagon or Colt Vista or Expo left this clean. This is the one, probably the most perfect one there still is, and I thoroughly enjoyed every moment I had on the road with it. God, this car is so perfect in all its goofy glory. The original owner was so meticulous that he kept every single service record and oil change sticker from the original purchase and up until he sold it. The original owner kept notes under the hood concerning fluid levels, and it's amazing really that this car is in as good a shape as it is, especially when the owner bought it because of the all-wheel drive since he lived down a long, twisty South Carolina dirt road. The current owner at the time of filming rescued it when the original owner had to get rid of it due to his old age and not being able to drive anymore. Really, the only thing wrong with it was the brake lines needing to be replaced after years of being caked with Carolina clay thanks to its long life living on a dirt road. The current owner, Jarrett, runs a small Facebook page called Project Finders where he finds cars like this on Marketplace or Craigslist needing a new lease on life and either fixes them up or prepares them for a new owner that will hopefully show the same car the love that the original owner of this said Eagle Summit Wagon did. I love this, and I've done this myself to a lesser extent with my own hoopties in the past. My SJ Cherokee went to someone with a large collection of old off-roaders. My Diplomat went to a Mopar collector in Connecticut who was going to make it into a cop car clone. And my Trooper went to a local engineer who wanted a unique camping rig for his family. For people like Jarrett and I, seeing our brief little projects go on to owners who intend on taking these oddball cars and trucks and returning them to their former glory, or simply cherishing the snapshot in time that a car like this Eagle is, just hits us right in the feels. I love seeing like a car like my Trooper, who I bought from a high schooler who thought that thing was cool because it shot flames, being owned by someone who now takes care of it meticulously. It makes me feel good knowing that I helped this beat up Trooper full of rat poop get a new lease on life. And hopefully that's what this Eagle Summit Wagon does when Jarrett eventually sells it. In the end, Eagle didn't succeed because Chrysler never really intended it to. It was a stopgap solution for them to fulfill a contract with Renault, and the fact that it lived beyond that was a minor miracle in itself. But once those Americanized Renaults left Jeep Eagle dealers, what little identity Eagle had was lost. It'd be one thing for it to become a rebadged Mitsubishi dumping ground for Chrysler, but it was another when Dodge and Plymouth were also getting the same rebadges of their own. Eagle had no identity, but I'd argue that it at least had a little more life to it than what Plymouth had at the same time. Eagles were mostly Mitsubishis, and the first-gen Intrepid by the end. But that was way more interesting than the Plymouth Breeze and the third Neon and the rebadged Caravan. The Prowler doesn't count, that came way too late. But it wasn't enough, and Eagle would simply become an afterthought of the 90s. It's a shame. Eagle was the last vestiges of AMC, and it would quietly go out without a whimper. But thanks to cars like this 1994 Eagle Summit Wagon all-wheel drive, we can look back on better times. Man, what a car. A snapshot to the mid-90s, and a glimpse of an automotive mark lost with time. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you once again for watching another episode of Wookie Drives. Once again, huge shout out to Jarrett of Lincoln, North Carolina, and his page, Project Finders, for letting me drive this wonderful, wonderful Eagle Summit Wagon for this video. I will link his Facebook page on the screen now and in the description of this video. Be sure to check him out. He's always working on different projects, and you may see us work together in the future with other weird oddballs like this. Oh, man, this is probably my favorite review of the year so far. Man, this car was so perfect. If you have a car or truck you'd like to see on the show and happen to be in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, submit your car to wookiedrives@gmail.com. That's right, email wookiedrives@gmail.com to have your car submitted. Submit your car to wookiedrives@gmail.com. That's wookiedrives@gmail.com. Don't forget to give the video a like. Drop a comment with some feedback. Any sort of interaction with this video really helps small channels like mine grow in the algorithm. Share with all your Eagle Summit or Mitsubishi Expo or Dodge Colt Vista wagon friends. And finally, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for more Wookie Drives like these. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.
Presenting the 1990 Eagle line of cars. The new Talon. The new Summit. The 1990 Premiere. 1990 Eagle. The way they're put together sets them apart. At your Jeep and Eagle dealer.